Hi, good morning, my dear students. So welcome to our ODL Grade 10 English class, week 5. So it is all about the claims of facts, policy, and values. So as you can see, my dear students, previously, when we start our second quarter, we are always talking about claims, opinion, argumentation, and persuasion. So, step by step, you are able to understand that these subjects or these topics are really essential when it comes to um, getting your claims or how you are going to create your own opinion. Okay, so assertion and opinion is also different with each other, right? Same goes with the argumentation. Now, we will going to talk about claims of fact, okay, policy and value. So what is that? Before we move on with our lesson objective, let's have first our class objective. So what will be your expectation and outcomes? So at the end of the lesson, learners will be able to discuss and define claims. Second, provide an example of claims. Third, develop further your skills in critical thinking and writing. Formulate claims of fact, policy, and value. So, marami tayong, ang pinag-uusapan natin ngayon, most of our second quarter is all about how uh, you need to identify how you will going to create your own claim. Okay? So, last week, we studied about opinion and assertion, right? So, it is your claim as well. But then how they are differs, right? So let's have our first activity for this morning. So here, I want you to write it on your notebook, of course. Learning task number 1 before we have our discussion. So here, study the statement that follow. Then identify the statements that letter A assert something is true or not. Write B if judge whether or not something is good, right, or moral. And lastly, C, assert that one course of action should be done or not. So write the letter of your answer on your notebook. So after that, you need to turn it in sa ating Google Classwork activities. Okay? Number 1, the Department of Education or DepEd got the highest allocation for the 2020 national budget. Is it A, B, or C? Write the letter of your answer. Number 2, taking drugs without a doctor's prescription can endanger one's life. What will be your answer? Write A if assert that something is true or not. B, judge whether or not something is good, right, or moral. C, assert that one course of action should be done or not. Then, let's have the next item. Number 3, the use of substantial research in writing is a great way for authors to achieve their purpose. Write your answer. Is it A, B, or C? Number 4, it's necessary for stakeholders in the community to support every school. Okay, going back, Is it necessary for stakeholders in the community to support every school in making sure that education continues for all learners? Is it A, B, or C? Last item is number 5. Honesty is the best policy. Is it A, B, or C? Write your answer. I'll give you 5 minutes to answer this question. I mean, these items rather. Okay, so let's move on. What is a claim? It says here that at the point what we are forced to justify a statement, it becomes a claim. Another is claims assert something. 'Di ba? Na-explain ko na sa inyo kung ano yung assertion. So, claims assert something. 'Di ba? Parang laging meron siyang pinagbabasihan. Yung parang hindi mo naman binibigyan ng, I mean, hindi mo naman alam kung totoo nga ba yun, but then it became para siyang nagiging katotohanan. Okay? It is not just only an opinion but an assertion. Next, claims are not question. No, no. Lastly, from your text, claim is a statement that the advocate believes or it is in process of evaluating. From Herrick to year 2005, page 7. So ito daw yung mga definitions ng claim. Ano nga ba yung claims? 'Di ba? Most sa 'di ba sa argumentation sabi nga natin, you stand for your own claim, 'di ba? You're making your own stand, 'di ba? So, dito malalaman natin ano nga ba talaga yung claim. Lagi na lang tayo nagke-claim eh. Ano nga ba 'yun? May makukuha ba tayo dito? Ano nga ba? Okay? So, later on, explain natin yan sa inyo. And, well, we were going to focus on the three type of claims. Okay? And the definition of it, of course, is matatakal din po natin. Now, kanina, ang tanong ko is, what is claim? And how, now, we were going to identify how you were going to identify claims. Okay? A claim must be an arguable statement. Okay? It is not a basic fact, not a piece of information that can be easily verified as true. Hindi siya madaling mabe-verify kung totoo nga ba or hindi eh. But then, how it became, kumbaga, paano mo mapapaniwala ang isang tao? It is a matter of persuasion or persuading a person or your audience, your listeners, your readers. Okay? Next, let's have the example. Para naman ma-identify natin kung ano nga ba yung claim or paano natin malalaman if that is a claim. So let's have this first one. So here, as you can see, the United States is in an economic recession. Okay, it is a claim. Why? Someone define recession differently. Okay, it is debatable. Bakit? Kasi nga, pag sinabi natin United States is in an economic recession, some will agree and some will disagree. And also, they were going to find evidences to, well, to prove their own claims. Okay, so in this example sentence, the United States is in an economic recession. It is a claim. Okay. Next, another one. Paano naman mo malalaman if it is not a claim? Now, let's have this second example sentence. Okay. The United States operates under a free market economy. Bakit hindi siya claim? Okay. So, this is widely regarded as fact. Okay. Kumbaga, nagbibigay ka ng totoong, I mean, well, when we say United States, meron talaga siya mga free market economy, yung mataas yung free market economy niya. Okay? And only those who wish to bicker about the semantics could debate about this. Kung meron talagang, well, if you were going to ask about being a free market economy of United States, well, most of them were going to say that, okay, yes. They were going to agree with it, okay? They regard it as a fact, okay? I hope you get it. Next, be careful of facts that contains claims, okay? Meron po tayong mga um, meron po tayong mga totoo na I mean, makatotohanang statement, pero nagko-contain po pala siya ng claims. So as I read your assignment, I mean your assigned task, well, some of you will kind of, sabihin na natin medyo naligaw. But then anyway, for some, mas maliliwanagan kayo on how you will going to know if it is a claim or a fact. Now, let's have the third example. Last week, the Federal Reserve Chairman announced that the United States was emerging from the economic recession. It is not a claim. Bakit? This statement isn't asserting anything. Okay? Wala namang Federal Reserve Chairman. Diba? So, we can say that it is a fact. Okay? Just informing what someone else is asserting or asserted. Okay? Diba? Pagka sinabi nga ng Federal Chairman, nag-announce siya na, lockdown. Diba? So, it is a fact. Kasi, may pinagbabasihan. Hindi siya yung, for example, ay sabi ni Federal Chairman ay, ang United States ay nag-emerge ng economic crisis. So, either magkakaroon siya ng debatable issue, di ba? Magkakaroon ng two sides, the agree and the disagree. Okay? So, ang sinasabi ko lamang is, claim is debatable. Okay? Did you get it? I hope you do. Now, let's talk about the three types of claims. We have the fact, value, and policy. Okay? First, let's have claims of fact. Ano nga ba to? Sabi dito, this category of claims states something about things in the past, in the present, and in the future. This also deals with ideas or claims that can be proven or disproved with the help of factual evidence. This fact claim is basically debatable yet verifiable. Papaano po ito? Meron mga claims of kapag ka siya binasa mo, akala mo totoo. But then, not knowing that it is a claim. How is it? How you will going to identify if a certain sentence is a claim of fact? So here are the tips. Okay? Sabi nga, identifying a claim of fact asserts that a condition has exist, or will exist. Okay? Yung naganap or naririyan. Kumbaga parang yung saan, di ba, yung naganap, nagaganap, at magaganap. Okay? Also, claim of fact relies on factual information for support. Okay? So, you need to know not only the evidences hindi lang evidences yung hahanapin mo, but then how you will going to relay in your claims to a factual information to support your claims, di ba? So that is how. Another, in general, claims of fact are opinions drawn by inference. Uulitin ko po, ang claims po is debatable. So, claim of fact proving a claim of fact involves proving the inference you have made is reasonable. So, to prove that, you need to involve the inference. Okay? Kailangan may reason. Di ba? Ano nga ba? Bakit ganun yung claim mo? Ano bang pinaglalaban mo? Okay? Next. Claim of fact can be objectively proven. Objectively proven. When we say objectively, um, yun na mismo. Baga, parang, what is the topic all about? Okay? Napoprove mo siya. Next, and well, the last one is that claim of fact often praised with active verbs. Okay? Meron pong mga active verbs na ginagamit if that is a claim of fact. How you will know that? So here are some examples. Okay? The first one, stiffer penalties for drunk driving have led to fewer traffic fatalities. So, in this example sentence, assert that a relationship exists between traffic fatalities and new drunk driving law. Although it may be true, it is an interpretation of traffic statistics and enactment of new laws. Okay? So the relationship between the traffic statistic and the enactment of new laws is inferred from this data. So someone could argue that the inference is weak. Okay? Another can be proven objectively. How? To support this claim, you would need to prove evidence that demonstrate this relationship exists as you say it does. If the relationship is shown to exist, then your claim is reasonable. There is no subjective open to dispute this. Okay? Ulitin ko po, in this example sentence, we can consider it as a claim of fact. Again, it asserts the relationship exists between the traffic fatalities and the new drunk driving law. Another, well, although it may be true, it is an interpretation of traffic statistics and enactment of new laws. Lastly, it can be proven objectively. Marami naman talagang nagkakaroon ng uh, problema sa trapiko. Now, let's have another example. Okay, so let's have this another example. Fewer and fewer graduating seniors are prepared for college writing and math classes. So, this example sentence asserts that smaller occurrences of college preparation exist. Although it may be true, it is an interpretation of grade statistics and college dropout rate over time. Okay, so the downward trend is interpreted from this data. Bakit? Paano nangyari yon? Kasi sabi nga, fewer and fewer graduating seniors are prepared for college. Okay? Next, someone could argue that since more and more students are going to college, the number of incoming freshmen who are unprepared is simply a product of the law of averages or average. So, in this example, di ba, pwedeng mag-argue dito na Paano mo nasabi? Diba? Paano mo nasabi na few? Paano mo nasabi na marami ang nagiging dropout or marami ang hindi makakapunta ng college? Diba? So again, claim is debatable. And another is that it can be proven objectively, right? How? To support this, you would need to prove evidence that incoming college freshmen, on average, are not as prepared for their classes as they used to be. Kasi nga, di ba, basically, basically, uh, ang mga bata ngayon, akala nila ay um, kaya na, 'di ba? Kasi senior high school, after niyan, pwede ka na magtrabaho kasi 18 years old ka na. You are already at the right age. But then, to think more, if you really want to achieve the profession that you've dreamed of since you were a child, then you go to college, right? Another, if this trend is clearly demonstrated, then your claim is reasonable. Kung na-demonstrate to, kung meron naman talaga mga evidences na ipinapakita, then it is reasonable. And there is no real subjectivity subjectivity open to dispute. Okay? Ulitin ko po, objective po ito. Objectively po ang claim of fact. So, kaiba po siya sa iba pa po ninyo mga claims. Okay, moving forward. So, ito na mga example na to is makikita sa inyong module. It says here that the national budget, the 2020 national budget amounting to 4.1 trillion. Wow, ang laki ng pera nito. Which is 12% larger than 2019 budget, can really help in boosting the economy through various infrastructural projects. So this claim focuses on the budget and the possible result of its implementation in terms of economic growth. So this can be proven or disproved, of course, after the actual implementation of the target infrastructural project using the given amount specified in the national budget. Now, let's have the claims of value. So the a claim of value, also known as the value claim, presents an assertion as to whether something is good or bad, or one concept or idea is better than another. So this also emphasizes in ways the benefit of the subject matter. So this debatable is in nature since people may have different opinion on the given claims or concepts. So these are the claims of value, either good or bad. Now, how are we going to identify a claim of value? Claim of value asserts that some action, belief, or condition is right or wrong, good or bad, desirable or undesirable, etc. So, another is that it relies on proving their reasonable standard of judgment for support. In general, claim of value make judgment express approval or disapproval of standard, taste, and or morality. Of course, proving a claim of value involves arriving at reasonable standard of judgment that readers will accept. And unlike a claim of fact, claim of value cannot be objectively proven because it's subjective in nature. Lastly, claim of value often praised with linking verb. So kung kanina po is another type of verb, this one is a linking verb. So how are we going to know? So let's have an example sentence here and also the explanation here. Okay. Schools are doing everything they can to prepare graduating seniors for college. So this assert that what schools are doing is sufficient or good. Then, although it may be widely accepted, this is a personal judgment that expresses approval. What schools should be responsible for doing is a matter of personal judgment. And someone could argue that schools are responsible for doing more than they actually are. Then it is also subjective in nature and cannot be objectively proven. How? To support this, you would need to prove reasonable standards on which responsibilities of school can be judged. If what if what schools are currently doing falls within these standards, then your claim is reasonable. Except for those who do not agree with the standards you use to judge what school should be doing. So, it depends. Okay? It depends for the claim, of course. Lagi naman. Another example is, if I were to choose, I would prefer to work from home scheme than working in the office as this gives me more family time. So this claim is based on one's opinion or judgment about the worth of the work from home scheme. So this arguable since the benefit of the WFH may varies from one person to another. Meaning to say, ito ay own opinion mo lamang. Unlike sa iba, maaaring mas okay sila nang nandoon sila sa school or nandoon sila sa offices nila. And of course, debatable siya. Magkakaroon ng argumentation here. Why? Kasi nga, your topic is somehow, kumbaga ay parang hindi lahat ng tao pare-parehas ng estado ng buhay at takbo ng buhay. So possible na sa akin okay ang work from home pero sa iyo mas okay ang work from the office, 'di ba? So it depends on your own opinion. Now, let's have let's know the difference between fact and value. So, kanina, di ba, na-discuss na natin kung ano nga ba yung claims of fact and also the claims of value. Remember, differentiating between claims of fact and claims of value can be tricky. Bakit? Do not, or it's not, kumbaga, don't all claims assert that something exists. Diba? Sa fact lang naman yun. Don't all claims, baka naman ito do not. Okay? Not all claims rely on inferencing. Ano nga lang ba yung nag-i-inference? Diba? Is it the claim of fact or claim of value? Then, another is that, yes, but you have to examine. Siyempre, if you have all the claims to rely on personal judgment, you need to have to examine it. How the claim is worded, how the claims can be supported, and how the claims are proven reasonable. Paano mo masasabi na yung claim mo is reasonable? And how can you say that your claim is true if it is or it doesn't have any support or evidence. Okay? Now, to give us some more look at the difference between the claims of fact versus the claim of values, remember that in claims of fact asserts that a condition has existed, existing, or will exist, while in the claims of value assert that some action, belief, or condition is right or wrong, good or bad, desirable and undesirable. Another, well, so claims of fact, it relies on factual information for support, while sa claims of value, it relies in proving reasonable standard of judgment for support. Doon pa lang makikita mo na magkaiba sila. Kasi factual information, yung mga totoong information. Unlike dito sa value na yung reasonable standard of judgment lang. Na kung halimbawa, ang tingin ko sa'yo mabait ka, and then, paniniwalaan ko yung mga tao na mabait ka. Another is that opinion drawn by inference. Okay? While sa claim of value, judgment can express approval or disapproval of standards, taste, and or morality. So nakakaiba din sila dito. While another example is that claims of fact can be objectively proven, while claim of value cannot be objectively proven because it is subjective in nature. Next is that claim of fact, proving a claim of fact involves proving the inference you have made is reasonable. Unlike dito po sa claim of value, well, proving claim of value involves arriving a reasonable standard of judgment that readers will accept. Lastly, sa claim of fact, often phrased with an active verb, while sa claim of value, often phrased with a linking verb. So these are the differences between the claims of fact and claims of value. So dumako naman tayo sa examples. So how you will going to know if that is a claim of fact or a claim of value? Here are the example sentence. In the Harry Potter series, Harry was a positive role model for children. So this is a claim of value. Bakit? What constitute a positive role model is subjective. Isinasubject niya. Paano nagiging subjective? Kasi ang subject natin si Harry. Sino ba daw yung merong positive, um, sino ba yung positive role model? E di si Harry. So, it is subjective. Pero kung objective, of course, later on. Bigyan natin ng another example. Okay? So, again, this is a claim of value. Then, I would have established a standard for what makes the role model positive and then prove Harry meets that standard. Papaano? So, gagawa po tayo or halimbawa, mag-establish ako ng standard para malaman na totoo yung claim ko na, okay, si Harry Potter is a positive role model. Diba? Then, even then, some individuals would never agree with the claims because they don't agree with the standard I set. Bakit? Ako lang naman kasi nag-set ng standard. So, possible na yung mga Harry Potter lovers dyan is possible na magkaroon ng claim sa akin or magkaroon ng argumentation between me and those Harry Potter lovers because I set my own standard not knowing that it might have confusion with others and it might be disagreeable by others. Okay? Next. So, ito naman is an example of claim of fact. Paano? In the Harry Potter series, Harry's journey teaches children perseverance in the face of overwhelming odds. So, it is a claim of fact. Bakit? I have inferred this for the event of the novel. Paano? Pwede ako magbigay ng mga examples na nagpapatunay na nagtuturo ang series ni or yung journey ni Harry sa mga kung paano haharapin ng isang tao yung paghihirap. Okay? So I would have to cite events from the novels in Harry Potter which demonstrate perseverance. Diba? Then since perseverance is a concept that isn't highly subjective, it could objectively proven. Okay na po? So I hope that you understand this. Now, let's have the last claim. So this is the claim of policy. A claim of policy supports that an action should not be done to address a certain case or policy. Okay? Policy claim indicates that an action should be carried out either in support or in opposition of a particular argument. So let's have the example for further knowledge, di ba? So how you will going to identify the uh, claim of policy? Paano po? It asserts that certain condition should exist. Kung kanina yung claim of fact that should exist, nag-exist, and will be existing, so dito sa claim of policy, ang certain condition niya ay dapat ay nag-exist. And it relies on supporting claims of fact and supporting claims of values. So, pinagsama yung dalawa pang claims. So, in general, claims of policy contains auxiliary like should, ought, or must. Proving a claim of policy involves proving that current conditions are less desirable than what they should be with the suggested change. Okay? So this is the claim of policy. So let's have the example for this. Even stricter penalty should be handed out to drunk drivers. The assert that stricter penalties should exist. Dapat nga daw. To support this, you should need to prove that the current conditions are less desirable than they would be under this new system of stricter penalties. I would need to prove evidence to support that stricter penalties would create those more desirable condition. Diba? Malinaw po ba? I hope na malinaw. Another example is schools should use more rigorous assessment to ensure that students are prepared for college. Ito naman yung palagi nating ginagawa, nating mga diba? So, to support this, you would need to prove the current condition are less desirable than they would under this new system of more rigorous assessment. Nasa new normal po tayo. Next is that I would need to prove or provide evidence to support that more rigorous assessment would create those more desirable conditions. Okay. Palaging merong sagot. Palaging may tanong at magkakaroon din ng sagot. Diba? So, hindi lahat ng tinatanong mo, sasagutin ka ng tama. Minsan, sasagutin ka ng mali or kasinungalingan. So, you need to know if the person is telling the truth or not. Okay? And if they're claiming true or not. Now, so this is your learning task. What you need to do Well, this will be your assigned task rather. Study the illustration provided below. Then, in your notebook, provide three examples of claims. One for fact, one for value, and one for policy. So, related to this theme of illustration, ito po yung illustration. As you can see, merong kamay ni kamatayan with a doctor and a crying Filipino. And well, these skeleton hands and arms are pertaining to COVID-19. What you need to do is that you need to provide three examples of claim. Gagawa po kayo ng claim of fact, claim of value, and claim of policy. So, na nagre-relate po doon sa theme. Okay? Any question? Maaga po tayong matatapos ngayon. So, um, instead of waiting up until Wednesday to submit your work, might as well do it now. Okay? Use our time to finish this learning task. Learning task po to, hindi na po ito assigned task. Uulitin ko po, learning task po, isa-submit po ito today. Okay pa? Up until 5 PM po. Okay po? Kung meron po kayong mga tanong, feel free to ask. And also, you can chat me sa atin pong chat box. Okay? So, yun lamang po. And by the way, my dear students, I hope that you've learned something today about the three types of claims. Okay? Magagamit niyo po yan. Promise. Okay po? So, that ends our session for today. I'll just wait for your learning task. So, we have two. Yung isa po is yung ABC. And then now, this one. Okay po? So, I hope that you have a great day today and keep safe, everyone. Have a great day, everyone. Bye!